Robert Paul Craney here from the Fiscal Alliance Foundation. We're a 501c3 based in Massachusetts, but we kind of look at New England as a whole, especially on energy issues.
Yeah.
So last November, we commissioned a study along with other organizations in all the New England states and with Americans for Prosperity. The study was looking at reliability of our grid and costs for the trajectory of these mandates for hitting net zero by 2050. It's funny, being in New England, it is a small part of the country. Being in Massachusetts, you're a big fish in a small pond. And all these 6 states are connected with the same grid, the ISO grid. So even if you're in New Hampshire that doesn't have a sales tax, doesn't have an income tax, doesn't have a death tax, your Achilles heel is that you're part of that grid with the rest of these New England states. So as we increase our mandates, increase costs, it impacts New Hampshire. Now on the flip side, as New Hampshire keeps their energy cheap, it helps other states like Massachusetts. All that being said, this study looked at reliability and costs. Reliability is what you think when you try to pursue unreliable energy sources that are weather dependent, but the cost was big for us. It came out to be $815 billion, about $55,000 per capita in New England. And here's the great thing about that study. No one, even people on the left, even people who are pushing these mandates, have been able to put out any numbers. It's only been us.
Sure.
So what's your message to Governor Janet Mills in Maine? What's your message to Governor Ned Lamont in Connecticut? Your message to the Governor McKee of Rhode Island? These governors who are locking their states in these mandates, Governor Maura Healey, Governor Phil Scott, the states that have these mandates or considering, what would be your message to these governors in New England about pursuing or sticking in the net zero mandate by 2050?
Well, the key is affordability. It's always affordability, and affordability and reliability go together. If electricity is not reliable, it's not affordable. But what we're seeing with New England broadly, and ISO New England has warned about this repeatedly, is the dangers to the reliability of the grid in New England as you go to more weather-dependent generation. And I looked at this study that Mitch Rawling and Isaac Orr did from Always On Energy Research. You said the punchline number, $815 billion was their estimate to go to an alt-energy-based economy. That worked out, I think, to $53,000 per New Englander, right? There are 15.1 million people in New England. It's a staggering sum, an absolutely staggering number, $53,000 each. Let's even assume they're wrong by half. Well, that's still let's just call it $25,000. It's $1,000 per year from now to 2050 for every person in New England. Who would vote for that? No one. What's my message to these governors, the policymakers in these states here in New England? Sober up. Look at the numbers. Look at the math, particularly when it comes to siting of wind and solar and transmission lines, which are absolutely, you're going to need a massive amount of high voltage transmission if you're going to try and do this insane build out of solar and wind. It can't be done. And rural people in Maine, rural people in Vermont, here in Massachusetts, in Connecticut, all of them are saying the same things, as well as in rural Hawaii, rural California. It's the same everywhere. People don't want this massive industrialization of their landscape.
Massachusetts is roughly, I think they say, like half of all the bandwidth, all the energy consumed in New England. What's your message to Governor Healey?
I'd have a question for Governor Healey. You've endorsed this net zero mandate, and you say this is the way to go to try and drive the Commonwealth of Massachusetts solely on wind, solar, batteries, and I don't know, unicorn farts and fairy dust. I don't know how else you're going to do it. But what's the cost? Give us a number. Provide a number, a realistic number of what the state's own budget people estimate this will cost, and then be willing to stand up behind it.
So what's the cost? And then I would say, after that, who's going to pay for it?
What do you say to the barista at Starbucks? What do you say to the custodian at the local elementary school who's working 2 jobs just to get by? How do you justify saying to them, you can only drive an electric car? You have to have a heat pump. You're not going to be allowed to use natural gas in your home. All of these are the key questions, but it all comes down to affordability, Paul. It's all about cost.
The small state of Vermont and New England, they have a Republican governor, overwhelming Democrat legislature. They've had some political shifts going on last November because this issue came to the forefront. So what's your message to the people in Vermont where they're starting to see the repercussions of the mandate started going into effect, probably a little bit more than Massachusetts, but we're starting to catch up to that. What's your message to people in Vermont?
Well, Governor Phil Scott in Vermont, again, sober up. Look at what is happening in your own state, particularly when it comes to land use conflicts. I've been reporting on what's happening in Vermont now for more than a decade. And you see in town after town after town, local people are saying, we don't want these big solar projects, we don't want these big wind projects. And so are you going to listen to them? Or I guess the other question is, to whom are you going to listen? Are you going to listen to the voters, and particularly the working class voters, or are you going to listen to the Sierra Club types who don't care about cost and are only driving these policy moves that hurt the poor and the middle class, and we need to get rid of them?
The state of New Hampshire, they actually produce more energy than what they consume in their state because they have they have the nuclear power plant. What's your message to a state like that who seems to have a good grasp for policy?
It's clear to me New Hampshire is taking the right course, which is first, do no harm. And I think that that's what you can see in New Hampshire is an energy policy that is not going to harm the poor and the middle class, first off. And second, that if they're running an energy surplus, this is a very good thing. Because when push comes to shove, what do I see around the world? Local communities, local and states, countries, they're going to take care of their own people first. New Hampshire's in a pretty enviable position here. That said, they could be hurt by these net zero mandates in the surrounding states because of the high cost of the surrounding states and the restrictions. But there also may be some benefits to New Hampshire over the long term because they haven't adopted these bad policies.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Robert. And hopefully the people in England will hear this.
Well, if they haven't, they don't hear it, hit them again. Tell them
Definitely.
again and tell them again and tell them again.
Well, their energy bills remind them every month.
And that's a powerful message. These net zero mandates mean higher costs. They are, in fact, a tax on energy.
The Fiscal Alliance Foundation is a nonpartisan nonprofit 501c3 organization. Visit our website to read more about our alternative energy policy studies, sign up for important email updates, make a tax-deductible contribution, and follow us on social media.